And a very good morning to you. Thanks for spending part of your Memorial Day weekend with us. We all know that stealing is against the law. This past week, the U.S. government announced that it will attempt to prosecute the theft of millions of dollars in U.S. corporate trade secrets by members of the Chinese military army who hacked into U.S. business computers. In Washington, Attorney General Eric Holder, joined by local U.S. Attorney David Hickton, accused 5 military officials in China of hacking into the computers of companies in the Pittsburgh area.
Today we are announcing an indictment against 5 officers of the Chinese People's Liberation Army for serious cybersecurity breaches against 6 American victim companies.
Those companies and organizations include Alcoa, United Steelworkers Union, Westinghouse, ATI Allegheny Technologies, and U.S. Steel Corporation.
Pittsburgh has long been preeminent in the metal industries and home to organized labor. Now, as a result, Pittsburgh has become the target of state-sponsored cyber intrusions.
Hickton said the Chinese stole information that would give state-owned Chinese companies an advantage in trade and trade cases.
The hackers stole internal trade strategy, attorney-client communications, and cost and production analysis.
And a local federal grand jury charged 31 counts of economic espionage, theft of trade secrets, and aggravated identity theft.
Hacking, spying, and cyber theft for commercial advantage can and will be prosecuted criminally, even when the defendants are state actors.
So how did the Chinese get away with this? And what can be done to protect corporations against future theft? Well, joining us now on the Sunday Business Page is Dr. Chuck Wood, a security expert and assistant professor of information systems management at Duquesne University's Palumbo Donahue School of Business. Chuck, welcome back to the show. Thank you. It's good to have you here. You know, this is a very, very real problem for not just the United States of America, but for companies in countries all over the world. How much of this kind of stuff is going on?
Well, it's quite pervasive. They have about major companies getting hacked maybe 3,000 or more times per day.
Wait, 3,000 times a day?
Sure, yeah.
Companies are getting hacked.
Now, some of that is automated with automated attacks, and some of it is a lot of people trying to break into companies to get break-even price points that they can compete better with, future plans, even a employee list for future hacking.
Well, how unusual is it for a government like China to be engaged in this? Do we think a lot of that's going on?
It has with China. It allegedly has been going on for quite some time, maybe 6 years or so. They have really been hitting the corporations in the United States rather hard, and then disseminating the information to their own corporations. As far as I know, most of the other hacking attempts around the world are not government related at all.
Yeah, I think that was the impression I got, that this was primarily limited to China. But of course, the warning's out there that we're going to prosecute if we can. Right. Now, of course, the challenge here is that these Chinese actors are in China. They're in Shanghai. Right. They operated out of Shanghai. Right. We don't have them. And there's no likelihood at all, it seems to me, that China's going to extradite them to the U.S. for prosecution.
There's no chance of that. Yeah. You're right. But the idea is to send a warning and let them know that we are not happy with this, and they need to. I doubt we'll be able to stop them, but to curtail it and quit beating up our corporations so badly every single day.
You know, how do we protect ourselves, Chuck? I mean, I guess that's the big question. We're not going to be able to get these actors, but is there a way for the U.S. steel corporations and for the Westinghouses and the Alcoas and ATIs, I mean, all the big corporations we have in Pittsburgh and throughout the country, is there a way we can protect ourselves?
Yeah, and corporations are doing this right now. They do installations of what's called bastion firewalls, where you have to go through multiple firewalls just to get to the corporate data. They also implement removing data from the internet, so you just can't get to it. And they isolate their own data centers from their internet data centers.
Well, that almost sounds like we go back to the paper days.
Yeah.
If you've got a real secret, write it down on paper and lock it up in a file cabinet.
yeah,
Don't
right.
put it online. Are we really going back to that?
Well, for now, the most sensitive information really needs to be kept away from public scrutiny. There are ways to still connect, even though your computer's not connected, multiple computers in one place. A translator computer that you send information to that sends information back, called a proxy. And things like that can help out, and they are being used. Corporations are aware of this, but this is what they have to go through just to keep their secrets secret.
You know, if there's that much hacking going on, and what you're saying is that most of the hacking that goes on are bad guys. They're not associated with governments necessarily, but they're bad guys. What are they doing with this information? Do they sell it to people? I mean, there must be is there a kind of a black market in corporate information that's out there?
Most of the criminal hacking that goes on is at a personal level, where they try to get your credit card, your bank account information, things like that. They don't try to steal the corporate information so much unless another corporation is doing the hacking. And
do we suspect that? Do we think that competitors, I hesitate to mention some names, but we know that there's some pretty aggressive companies out there that compete against each other. Are there instances of one company trying to hack another company?
There are some, but usually it's across country borders. So the United States companies don't hack into the United States companies by and large. It's very risky and not much return.
Can we put a dollar figure on what the cost of all this is?
I've heard it upwards of $100 billion a year is what I've heard, that just the hack, just the stolen information each year.
$100 billion a year.
That might be an estimate. It's hard to actually get.
It's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of money, and there's no doubt that this is a major, major problem. And I think this whole incident with China demonstrates. I don't know what it is that we do. I mean, we could boycott Chinese products. I mean, that would be one smart thing that would send a message, because if the government can't really prosecute these people, I'm not sure what else is available to us. Any suggestions?
Well, I think the government's doing what they can. Our jurisdiction does end at our borders, but we try to put pressure on where we can. We're so connected globally right now that it's very difficult to say we're not going to buy anything made in China when a lot of our stuff is made in China.
I know. It is a very tough thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Dr. Chuck Wood, thank you, sir, very much
Thanks,
for
John.
coming in. We appreciate having your expertise, Chuck, and I know this is going to be an ongoing issue.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks again.